Welcome back to the UFC Pros Pick Show. I am James Lynch. He is Nick Kalikas. And of course, we're joined by James Krause. We're going to be talking about UFC Vegas 51 going down this Saturday. Belal Muhammad, Vicente Luque. But before we get into that, we got to do some business here. Check out BetDSI. Use the promo code UFC. You get the signed photo of James Krause, and you get the match deposit bonus. That's the odds we're going to be referencing here today. We got to talk about last week because last week went pretty well. We both, Krause and I both had the Lad Peddington goes the distance parlay with Ian Gary. That hit. And I had Julio Arce, and that hit as well. So pretty good week of bets for us. Pretty good card. I think most of the favorites won. I think the only underdogs were, I think, Sterling, and I think Olynyk was an underdog at some point, but he ended up winning. But pretty good card last Saturday for UFC 273. But they're back at it again this week in the Apex. Main event is a rematch. A lot of people forget they fought already. It's Vicente Luque and Belal Muhammad. And right now on BetDSI, Vicente Luque, the favorite at -172, the comeback on Belal Muhammad, +145. We'll start with you first, Nick. Any interesting line movement here? Belal's been on a tear, as is Luque heading into this fight, and Luque has the win over him too.
Yeah, the action is coming in more towards Muhammad at this point, despite the win that you just said that Luque already has over Muhammad. I just think they're at a different stage in their career right now. Both of these guys are on the rise. So it's not like one's dropping off by any means. I think Luque's still, climbing, still looking to knock on that door of a title shot. But Muhammad, I think, has kind of turned things around and has really been fighting a lot smarter as well. So the dog money coming in his way, I can see it. I can understand it. I think it's a dog or pass situation as well. So it went from -210 down to like $170 right now, what you're seeing. And I wouldn't be surprised if the line continues to drop a little bit here on Muhammad as well.
Krause, who are you picking in the main event?
I actually like Belal. I really do. I played him by decision at +225. I like that play a lot. He's not a huge finisher. I'll be honest. I thought he would open the favorite. I really did. And I really like him to win straight up. I think gun to my head, I would pick him to win. Luque is phenomenal. But I like Belal in this fight a lot.
Okay, keeping it simple. I'm going the other way here. I like Luque a lot. I think for me, and I could be wrong about this. Again, we can talk next week, and maybe I'm on the wrong side of this thing, but I think Belal had the benefit of fighting a guy where you knew the blueprint how to beat him in Stephen Thompson. He got beat the exact same way against Gilbert Burns, and I think Belal saw that and did the exact same thing. He took Thompson down. Thompson couldn't strike with them and just outworked him the whole fight. And, Thompson's pushing 40 here. I think it speaks more about Thompson's decline than Belal's winning that. Now, you also look at some of the other wins he's had, Damian Maia, Diego Lima. These are not great wins. I think with Luque, he is getting good wins. Michael Chiesa, to submit him as quickly as he did, very impressive. Woodley, yes, I know a little bit over the hill there, but he also finished Woodley in that fight. To me, what it's going to come down to is this fight going to end up on the mat? Is Belal going to be able to take him down? I'm not so sure about that. Remember where Luque trains at Sanford. He's got guys like, I know Usman's been in there a bit. He's got Gilbert Burns. He's got Logan Storley. There's a lot of good high-level wrestlers there. I think whatever Belal's going to bring to the table, he's seen. And so if it doesn't end up on the ground or it's not going to be against the fence, I think Luque's the better striker. He's got knockout power. We've seen this guy finish. That's one thing for me that I think is the big difference in this fight is I think that Luque can put people out. And he's actually the only stoppage loss. Belal's only stoppage loss in the UFC was against Vicente Luque. And we're seeing him continue to do that. Now, there is a bit of concern on the Luque side. He hasn't been as active as I like, and he does get hit a lot. I mean, if you look at some of the fights that he's had, he has taken some punishment, whereas I'd say Belal maybe not as much. I'm liking Luque here, though, but I'm kind of with you in the sense that I could see this going the distance. I don't think we'll see a quick finish like the first fight they had back at UFC 205. I think it's either going to be a later finish here for Vicente Luque or potentially a decision. So maybe look at the over in this fight, but I'm liking Luque here. And again, if Belal goes out there and wins a decision, not going to be shocked at all. He's gone on a great resurgence, but I think it speaks more to Thompson's decline with that win as opposed to Belal's getting over the hump there. Your thoughts on that, guys?
I'll see you on that, but also I have a hard time overlooking. I feel like that we were 30 seconds away from Luque losing a decision to Brian Barberena.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not, I don't want to talk bad about him, but like, they all.
You're right. Just be transparent. I mean, you're 100% correct. It was a very close fight. I did glance over that win for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like, we'll see. It's like you said, I don't think there's anything that's going to surprise me here. I feel pretty adamant that it's going to go the over, though. I don't think there's going to be a finish here.
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's hear it.
Luque fades a little bit as the fight goes. This is a 5-round fight, right? So, and he gets touched up quite a bit. So we know that he's got the finishing ability, Luque does, that he could possibly stop Muhammad again. But if he doesn't, I still think he's going to get marked up. He's going to start getting taken down as the fight goes too. Look, in the first couple rounds, maybe he stuffs those takedowns. And if he does stuff those takedowns, they're going to be thrown back and forth, right? For sure. So there's that finish probability, I think, early in the fight. But as it goes, I think those takedowns are going to come. He's going to start tiring a little bit more. And maybe we get into late round 4, round 5. I think there could be a finish there for Muhammad as well. A lot of people aren't expecting that, but I think it could go down that way.
Yeah, see, I don't see a finish on the Muhammad side. But if there's a finish, I would think it would be on the Luque side. But man, I think Belal is going to come out and fight smart and clinch him up early and pull the Chiesa.
Take him down and try to grind him.
Yeah, that's what I would try to do. You know what I mean? Like in the first 2 rounds, put him on the fence, get him tired. And we talk about this over the course of 5 rounds, like settle him into the fight a little bit. We talked about this a bunch in the past. And Muhammad's been doing he's been getting a lot of good guys down. I know Thompson's, but dude, he was beating Thompson everywhere, man. Like I know he was taking him down, and because he was taking him down, he was outstriking, but he looked phenomenal in that fight. And I have not seen one person outstrike Belal since the Luque fight, minus Leon Edwards, which I think Edwards would do the same thing to Luque.
Didn't Jeff Neal outstrike him though? He won a decision over Belal, right?
Yes. You're right. You're correct.
No
but that's been 3.
But I see what you're saying. It's few and far between. You're going to have someone that outstrikes him. I'm with you there, 100%.
I've seen Luque. My issue with Luque is like this is like I feel like, dude, Luque is amazing. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. But I feel like sometimes the whole story isn't told, and I feel like he often wins fights against guys that he's not better than, but he just hangs around longer than. And I don't think Belal is going to go away. You know what I mean? Like that's like. I just don't see him going away. I don't see him fading. His cardio is always spectacular. He's durable. He's hard to hit. I just don't see Belal brawling with him. Like if you look, Luque, Woodley, they were brawling. Price, Luque, they were brawling. Barberina, they were, fist fight. Like he lures these guys into this play. I just don't think he's going to be able to do that with Belal. I think Belal is going to play a very smart fight here, and I think he knows exactly what he needs to do to get the job done. I think he's going to get it done here.
There we go. Okay, we'll definitely have a lot to talk about next week. Okay, we were looking at the co-main event. It's 2 UFC newcomers. We're just going to talk kind of generally about some fights that we like on this card as we're sort of moving down it. The fight that kind of interests me, we were kind of talking about a bit off air, the Andre Filiao and Miguel Baeza fight, 2 kind of up-and-comers in the welterweight division. Baeza is the favorite here. Any sort of read on this fight, guys? Any of you guys want to chime in on this one?
Go ahead, Nick.
No, I think it's going to be a great fight, obviously, because, the firepower both these guys throw at you, especially early on in the fight, somebody's going to go to sleep. There's no way, especially if it goes to round 2, round 3. These guys do tend to fade. They tend to get hit a little bit as well. So I think by the time we get into round 3, if they're surviving here, either way, there's something's going to give it eventually. So this is going to be one of the fights of the night, I think. And another spot where it's a dog or pass situation. But again, after you get beyond round 1, I don't trust Andre as much as I do Miguel. So for me, I'm leaning Baeza here, but it's another tough one, man. I don't know if I laid the chalk because I think Andre Filiao is going to be a little bit disrespected as far as the overall ability to get this W here.
Yeah, I thought he looked good in his last fight, by the way, Filiao. Even though he lost to Pereira, I thought it was a good showing. Sorry, Krause, go ahead.
No. He took that on short notice, though, right?
He did. Yeah.
I think this fight should be a pick'em. In my opinion, I think it should be at least closer to a pick'em. I would, I'm not Nick. Obviously, Nick, this is your forte. If I was setting the lines, it would be at a pick'em or damn near close. You know what I mean? Like that's where I would have it. I think Filiao is getting a little disrespect because of the short notice. He got tired in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
Short notice though. Like go fight where he's gassing. I can't remember one. Like, and he's knocking guys out. And the thing that worries me is Baeza when he fought Ponzinibbio, he kind of when the going got tough, he kind of faded a little bit. So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. If for me this is an extreme dog or pass, but I'm kind of leaning Filiao too. Like I think the dude's a bomber, and I think he's extremely underrated. He had a tough road to get into the UFC and was knocking out a lot of UFC veterans to get there, man. He's good. He's the real deal.
Definitely legit. That's why I love this fight because it's going to be fun. Either way, it's going to be fireworks.
Yeah, 100%.
A couple other fights maybe we can mention. I'll pick one more that I kind of am really interested in. This Jesse Ronson and Rafa Garcia fight, which by the way, we were talking off air. Tapology and I think some other outlets have it listed as 170. It's 155. Ronson moving back down. Of course, he hasn't fought since the USADA suspension. I think I picked Rafa on my preview show this week, but I think Ronson has a chance to win this, especially with the fact that he's got way more experience. You look at his first UFC stint, he had all split decision losses, and then he got cut. Like, it doesn't get much worse than that. He comes back, short notice fight against Nicholas Dalby. He wins. You could say it was the steroids, whatever. But I mean, I've known Ronson for a while. I think it was more of a case of, something happening there with the supplements that he didn't know. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I think Ronson is going to really, we're going to see a really interesting fight here with him and Rafa Garcia. Just your thoughts on that fight. I'll start with you first, Nick.
I love this fight, man. I mean, not to play spoiler here, but that's going to be the bet of the week for me is Ronson. I got him at dog money. Now that dog money disappears, it's down to like a pick'em type of price. I think a lot of people just aren't familiar how good Ronson is, man. This is his second stint in the UFC. He's had some very close. I mean, even the first stint, if you look at his resume, he lost some very, very close decisions.
Split decision loss to Kevin Lee back when Kevin was really in his prime at that time, Right.
I mean, so the guy, I think he should have never been cut from the roster, to be honest with you. He definitely belongs. And I mean, he has the power to finish people on the feet. He's got that ability to stuff takedowns as well. So I love Rafa Garcia. I think he's a talented fighter, but stylistically, I don't think this is a great spot for him. I mean, we'll see. Now, the age factor comes in. Like you said, he's got the suspension coming off that suspension from USADA. So there's some kind of question marks surrounding Ronson a little bit here. But if we see any form of what we've seen in Ronson in his past, few fights or whatnot, he's going to win this fight, in my opinion. So for me, if you're getting a pick'em type of price with Jesse Ronson, that's the way to go.
I was just looking at this, Praxeris, Kevin Lee, and Francisco Trinaldo all in their prime, split decision losses.
Exactly.
That's a
doesn't
tough.
get much tougher than that.
That's a tough lineup. My problem is like I haven't seen any like spectacular wins out of him. I was very impressed with the Dalby fight.
Right.
The Dalby fight, he looked incredible. And one of the things that I like about Ronson a lot is he's a really good body puncher, which you don't see that a lot in MMA. I'm a fan of Ronson. Like, for whatever reason, I have a soft spot for these guys that aren't very well known, but like he's gone though. If you look at his resume, he's had the tough road. You know what I mean? Like he's had a really tough road to get where he's at. He's the guy that's never dodged anybody, and I respect guys like that a lot. And I agree with you guys a ton. I don't know. Maybe Vegas. I thought some of these lines were crazy. Maybe Vegas is sleeping this week, and they're like, I don't. Am I crazy here, Nick? You're the guy. I mean, I don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I thought when I looked at these lines, I'm like, man, am I missing something here? Like, I thought. I'm looking at this whole thing. I thought Belal would be a favorite. I thought Ronson would be a favorite. I thought
Ronson coming off the suspension though hasn't fought in 2 years. That's probably why he's the underdog, I would think.
And people don't really, the newer fans, I mean, I hate to say it because we're getting new fans all the time. They don't even know who he is, probably a lot of these guys, right? Like, so he's just not getting that attention like at the betting window from some of these newer bettors, or you know what I mean? Again, the diehards, the people that study the sport in and out are obviously going to know who Ronson is, and that plus money is disappearing. So again, the sharp money is going to come in. I think
he's an OG. He's been around the block, man. He's good.
Yeah. Any other fights you guys want to discuss, or do you want to get onto the prop and bet of the week?
I mean, action-wise, there's definitely some fights getting a ton of action. I think, surprisingly, the Sabatini, I mean, especially him being such a big favorite, right? That's getting bet up even more. Laramie, I know he's a fellow Canadian, Lynch out there, so that should be a pretty good fight. I'm just surprised how much attention that's getting at the betting window. That's all. That's why I even bring that up. But a lot of people are, and we've seen some sharp action come in on Sabatini. Obviously, the guy's a stud on the ground. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's got the ability to finish a fight, and he keeps on getting better. That's a scary thing with somebody like Sabatini. So just mentioning that because, again, as far as the action at the sportsbooks go, that is a very popular fight.
I will say this: TJ will look a lot. I mean, he had one of the worst UFC debuts you can have. James, obviously I think you were in Minner's Corner for that one. But like you look at, like, it's weird. He has these fights sometimes where he doesn't do well. He lost in the regional scene as well to Alex Morgan, but then he goes out there and he beats Charles Jourdain in a main event for TKO a couple of years ago. I was at that fight. He looked amazing. So it's just a matter of if he can put it together. I think if he can in this fight, I still don't think it's enough to beat Pat Sabatini. But saying that, like, TJ's been off for a couple of years. Who knows how good he's looked in the gym since then. So we'll see. But yeah, the safe bet I think is on Pat in that fight, but by decision, I think he'll do it there. But
yeah,
we'll see. I think so.
You think?
I don't know. We'll see. I think it's only, with it only being 3 rounds. Yeah, I think he can survive. We'll see.
I mean, he's in the most of his losses. He's been finished.
Oh, for sure. but I don't know. I have a feeling I could see this going to 3 rounds. We'll see. Just a hunch.
I hope it does. I want an exciting fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I hope it's
sure.
a back and forth type of fight.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be exciting at all.
Okay, there you go.
Well,
Krause, we're 0 for 2 against Krause.
Well, it depends on what you think. I think you're going to see some really cool stuff here, but not a lot of people think the grappling is exciting.
Okay. Let's get to our prop bet of the week. Krause, anything you like in here prop wise?
Yeah. This was another one that I'm just unsure of is the Boudet and Barnett over 1.5 rounds. I saw it at plus 160 yesterday. I think it's been bet down to plus 130. I love that fight. I love that play. I think it's going to hit. Basically, I think Boudet is a 2-1 favorite. You're telling me that Boudet is going to finish Barnett inside of a round and a half. I don't see it. And I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't played this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see an upset there. Boudet is a little hittable, and Barnett can bring some pop. But I don't. If I have a position on that, it'll be pretty small. But I really like the over 1.5 in that.
Okay. I agree. That's a really interesting matchup in the heavyweight division. My prop bet of the week, Jakar Close. You're getting him really high right now. I think 4-1 odds around there, but against Brandon Jenkins. But I like Close by decision. He is not a finisher. If you look at his UFC wins, typically they're by decision. In fact, I don't think he has a single finish in the UFC. He's coming off a long layoff. He has the loss of Beneil Dariush. He's had just a plethora of injuries, including the injury he had with his neck because of Jeremy Stevens. When they were supposed to fight, he had the push. Apparently, he's still dealing with that. So I think Jakar wins the fight, but I don't think he finishes Brandon Jenkins. You can get Jakar Close by decision right now for about plus 150 around there. I think that's a steal. I think Jakar wins. I think he looks good, but I don't think he finishes. Your thoughts on that?
You're right. He doesn't have a single. He doesn't have a single finish in the UFC. I did not know that. That's a pretty staggering, because I thought we would see a finish here.
Now, to be fair, he almost did finish Beneil. If you remember that fight, they were kind of going back and forth, and it was Beneil who got him in the end and finished him. And that was actually the first stoppage loss in Close's career. But, I mean, it could happen, but I don't know. I just think, again, if you're getting a guy who's not 100%, I know not every fighter's 100% in a fight, but if he's still dealing with this neck thing, I don't know, like, if we're going to see him go out there and be super aggressive. I think he's just going to want to get the win.
You might be right. That's not a bad play. I didn't like that when you first said it, and now that I'm looking at it,
coming around, I'm a very persuasive.
I like it.
So.
Yeah, no, I could see that happen as well. Yeah, I could see that. Jenkins is going to be dangerous a little bit, though, man. You got to respect the Jenkins side on the other way. But that being said, yeah, I do think you're onto something there for sure.
Nick, are we watching you on UFC on the line this week, or do you have anything you want to contribute here, or should we just get to the bet of the week?
No UFC on the line this week, so I can jump in here. I'm going to piggyback off of Krause's over 1.5 rounds in that heavyweight fight with Barnett and Boudet. I think that it does probably go over 1.5 rounds. I actually undercut the market, and when our total went up, I was favoring plus money, meaning I gave out less plus money on the over because I do think that has the ability to go over. So I like that. I really do think it goes over 1.5. So if you're going to target a prop, target that one that Krause just mentioned, the Boudet and Barnett over 1.5 at the plus money. I think you got to go for that for sure. And also, like a side one, I do think Muhammad and Luque, something's going to give before they hit the scorecards, because it's going to be grueling. I know Muhammad's going to try to grind him out, like Krause said, but I think it's going to end up being a grueling fight by the time it hits the scorecards, and somebody's going to break in round 4, round 5. And it might be, if Muhammad's there grinding him out, I'm telling you, man, he gets hit a lot. And that grinding ability, maybe some ground and pound. I think Muhammad has a little bit more power than we're all giving him credit for as well. So I think under at around a pick 'em price, you're laying maybe minus 120 or something on 4.5. So those are the two totals I like, actually. I know you guys don't agree with the main event.
No, listen, that's why we got all opinions here. You make your own decision, viewers. That's what you should be doing. Let's get to our bet of the week. Krause, what do you like in here?
I typically try to stay away from my guys, and I think you're actually going to use one of them, so I'm going to use.
It's fine. We'll do the same one. I think we did last week too, so it's all good.
No. I'm using the other one. I'm using the other. I have two guys on. I'm going to go Trey Ogden. He was sitting at minus 120, minus 130, I think, ish. I like that fight a lot for him. I feel like he's the better striker. I think he's the better wrestler, and I think their grappling is going to cancel each other out. I do feel like Trey has really good jiu-jitsu. Obviously Levitt does as well. But I like this fight a lot for him. And I think I try to approach this show as unobjective as I possibly can. And I think this is a really good line for him. I really do. I think this is, close to pick him. I think it's a good line for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if it got put to closer. Maybe you can elaborate on this, Nick, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went closer to pick him as we got closer to the end of the fight. But I really do think that we're going to see, I think we're going to see Trey take this one.
Yeah, I like Trey in that fight as well. And to me, it's also the experience. Trey's had a really long road to get to the UFC, but he's fought good competition on the regional scene too. Jordan only has, I think, 10 professional fights. I like that edge too, as far as what Trey brings to the table. Very well rounded. Nick, do you like anything this week as far as a bet?
I do. I kind of tipped my hat earlier with the Runson, man. If you're getting him at around pick 'em price, I think that's a way to go here in this spot against Rafa Garcia. And the pick 'em is going to be available there. So, I mean, I think he should be a slight favorite. Krause touched on that as well. So, for me, it's Runson on this card. I think he is my favorite play. And you're not risking a whole lot at a pick 'em price. So, that's the way to go. Bet Jesse Runson.
And I'm going with another one of Krause's guys. I like Kevin Kroom at plus 155. He's making his bantamweight debut. He's a lot bigger than his opponent. He's also fought better opposition. I think Kroom I think this is the right weight class for him. You look at some of the losses that he's had. You know, he had the Caceres fight at 145. He had a win at lightweight against Roosevelt Roberts. It was overturned due to marijuana. Don't let the record fool you, people. He definitely won that fight. To me, it's like, I think it's just, this is a perfect opportunity for him to really break through here. And you're getting him at almost, at plus 155, really good odds there. I'm liking Kevin Kroom for the upset.
I like it.
So there we go. All right. Well, guys, make sure you check out BetDSI. Use the promo code UFC. You get the match deposit bonus and the signed photo of James Krause. We'll be back here next week doing our preview for I think it's Jessica Andrade and Lemos fight that's coming up. Another one of these fight night cards until we get the other big pay-per-view coming up here pretty soon. For myself, for Nick Kalikas, for James Krause. Also, check out James Krause's Discord. Apparently, it's very popular. I need to get an invite. I'll maybe have to harass James after the show for that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week and enjoy the fights this Saturday.